Look, you're not going to make a simple mistake, right? As a food delivery driver, you know better. And if we're honest, this isn't rocket science, right? It's not the hardest thing in the world, but that's kind of what makes it hard because you don't think about this stuff. And I've done this. I've made some of these mistakes. I just want to give you a heads up here in this video so you don't cost yourself time and money. So number one, doing my pickup, I get the order request, accept, numbers make sense, all of that. And I go to the restaurant. This was at the time in North San Diego, in the Mira Mesa area. It was a Vietnamese restaurant. So I park, go inside. I've been there like plenty of times in that week. I don't know. 4, 5, 7, whatever, many times. The staff knows me, okay? I've done a lot of pickups there. So, customer's name, whatever it is. I get my pickup, and it's a pho dish, Vietnamese restaurant. It's a noodle broth dish. So, put it in my hot and cold bag, put it in the trunk of my car, just indicate I picked it up, and then on the way to the customer. So, making the way to the customer, I think there was maybe a little bit of highway driving, just a bit. So, that, let's call it 9 minutes away, okay? And I pull into the customer's location. It's a moderately large-sized apartment complex. I mean, here in Pittsburgh, we have pretty small, modest apartment complexes. But this one wasn't too huge. It wasn't one of those massive, 8 buildings in the complex here. So I pull in to the back area. And this one was actually one of those meet me, meet at door, meet me curbside. And I'm going to hand it off here. This isn't no contact. Hand it off to the customer. So I get out and I go to the trunk here and pop the trunk. And I had a little cardboard box that I put the hot and cold bag in. So open the trunk, get the hot and cold bag out, unzip it, take out their order, and it's completely soaking wet. So the lid popped off that kind of circular bowl for that noodle soup dish. It was hot, it popped open, and it was all basically in the bag. At least a good part of it was in the bag. And not much feels more embarrassing than a hand it to me delivery with the customer standing right there. And I have to say, I'm sorry. It looks like the lid popped open. And I'm handing it to the customer. I said, I can go back there, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to have to contact support. They will certainly reimburse you for this. Just place another order and apologize in as much as I can. And they still wanted it. So you're going to give it to them. And there was literally liquid at the bottom of the bag. So number one is to make sure you really secure any beverages or soup dishes. And number two, don't do what I did for whatever reason, putting it in the trunk. I would say unless it's a huge, large pizza that can't fit, obviously, in the front seats or even the main cabin for whatever reason, maybe you think it's going to slide around on those seats back there, then you can put it in the trunk. It's a flat, just albeit huge pizza. But for your standard hot and cold bag, it should go in the floor, have a lower center of gravity, and at least right next to you. And I will say, I drove as safely as possible. I knew I had pho, but don't put that stuff in the trunk. Number two, imagine this. You get your order request. Think about your favorite restaurant in your marketplace. They're always on the ball. And actually, their food's pretty good. The pickup there, it's seamless. So you got your customer's order here. Awesome. And now I'm going to make the delivery. So we're driving and you park your vehicle. And let's say a home, okay? It's just a house, right? So I'm going to approach the home. Okay, let's get our hot and cold bag, right? So now let's make our delivery. So we're going to the customer's front door, right? We got our bag and I'm looking, okay, where are we going to deliver it? This is a contact list, let's say, okay? Contact list on this one. So you're just going to deliver it at the front door. And I'm looking at the door. And they have a storm door, basically a, just clear door, whatever you call it. And then the front door. I can see here how it opens, etc. Sweet. I'm just going to put it in front of the door. The mistake that you did there, you might not know this, but when you put it down in front of the door, it's an outward opening door. And you didn't pay attention to which way that door opens. And now you're blocking them from even picking up their order. Look. Is it going to face this way? Is it going to open this way? Don't put it right in front of the door where it's going to block them from actually getting their order. I know that's a simple mistake, but I have seen it. It is a pet peeve. Customers hate that. And especially if there's a drink there, literally they can't open it if there's a drink there because they're going to knock that over. I would also say, actually, now that I'm thinking about this, you could also make sure it's not in direct street view. Just put it behind a patio wall, put it somewhere other than like right in front of street view. I'd say it's not as important as package delivery, because with package delivery, they might not be home. They don't know exactly when it might deliver, especially if they're not tracking it. Food delivery, yes, they're tracking it. They want to pick it up ASAP, so it's fresh, obviously. But yeah, don't put it in front of a door that opens outward. Number 3, something you're going to absolutely say on what? Actually, write this down below. 30%, 50% of your orders, apartments, right? You're going to have businesses, possibly, facilities, the residential houses, townhomes, whatever, just bundle that. And then the apartment complexes. Is that going to be what? 30, 50, 70% of your orders? Let me know down below. Let's talk about simple mistakes you're making at apartment complexes. Number 1, if it's a new apartment complex, I've never delivered here before. How is that layout? I'm delivering to, room 1200, okay, or building 1200, let's say. So when I pull up immediately, if I'm not familiar with this, and this was more apparent in San Diego, again, we don't have these huge apartment complexes necessarily here in Pittsburgh, but I'm looking, okay, building 1200. Here's building 900. Does it go 9, 10, 11? Or does it go backwards? 9, 10, 11. And then the front row is 12, 13, etc. Does it alternate like 1000, 1200, 14, and the other side of the road is the odd numbers, what have you. So as soon as I'm pulling in there, I'm eyeing up how is that layout, so I'm not driving around, especially if there's security gates, stuff like that, because you don't want to waste your time. Imagine wasting just 5 minutes trying to find where to park there. And then on the next complex, you're wasting 5 minutes. So over that hour, you're wasting 15, 18 minutes. You could have done another delivery. Nextly, when it comes to apartment complexes, again, more so the medium, larger complexes, finding the safe place to park. I know, I myself included here. You want to make money, you want to keep moving, you want to be efficient and basically fast, as safely as you can be, as efficiently as you can do this stuff. But don't rush the parking side of it, because you don't want to get towed. You don't want to get a ticket. So there's times where you can be a little strategic, a little risky, if we're honest here, but do not get in kind of that red zone of, okay, this is pretty risky. I'm blocking this, I'm blocking that. It says no parking, whatever, and I'm risking being towed or a ticket. And then following up on that, do this. Remember this. For that complex, if you've driven in that zone before, like you plan on driving in this area again, try to remember that stuff. Because when I get a drop off and it's like, oh yeah, it's this big apartment complex, then I know the layout. So now I know, okay, well, it's a new building 3000, but now I know the layout like we talked about. B, I know a place where I can park. So that's going to save me time. Now, C, let's talk about parking with these larger complexes. That sometimes, again, if you're rushing, I had times where I parked on, let's say, this, throughway, whatever, in between two of those apartment buildings, that I would walk in and then I would end up navigating all through that apartment building, trying to find the right room because I didn't know the layout. Versus taking another minute or two and figuring out, okay, maybe it's best for me to go in the back entrance, if there's a different entrance there, and then park at a different side of that building. The front, left, right, back side, wherever it is, granted, as long as there's different entrance that you can get into. Speaking of, for your safety and being, again, efficient, because I don't ever want you to rush. Don't rush. Actually, here's where mistakes happen. A bonus tip for you. If you're on a hill, trust me, remember that. Put that thing in park, put the e-brake on, okay? Obviously for everyone's safety there. Don't forget that. Food delivery for these gig apps, it's not hard. But what you'll find is just the little mistakes that, yeah, it's not a big deal. If I park over here or if I'm doing more navigation because I don't know the apartment. You know what? I just thought of this, actually. Drop a like on this video. Firstly, check out yourdrivermight.com for courses and resources for this gig economy. But an example of me parking on the front of the building, I remember walking to this building. Okay, that's not the right building. I walked across the other one. Oh, actually, that's not the right one either. I had to go around this building and I couldn't find a apartments map. That could be another thing that you could reference because frankly, sometimes these buildings don't have clear numbers. That's on them. That's not on you. But walking around, or at least asking asking someone. I've done that too. If you have zero idea, I can't see the building numbers, and just ask someone, say, hey, I'm trying to find building, 1200, whatever, can you help me out? Now that's just a few things though. Think about your earnings, the bonus pay, and tips. How do you get more tips though as a food delivery driver? Because that's another thing. So click or tap the screen here. I got a video on how to make more tips as a food delivery driver. That's very important.